Good morning, everybody. Second here. All right, so expectations for yesterday were fulfilled. Wasn't exciting. Was the narrow range day. You can see the little gap down didn't get very far, and it tried to move up. It didn't get very far, and it came up into the gap fill area a little bit more. This is the current bar, and just chopped back and forth. You can see. Look at the futures. We're going to get to SPX. But it just kind of, you can see it grinding down. It was higher there this morning. And one of the comments made yesterday was, all right, it moved down a lot on Friday. It's on some support. It's on a whole number. It's at the 50 MA. It's likely to hold here. And as long as it doesn't retrace and close more than 50% into the red bar, the expectation is that it's just chopping around, and it would have to get more close up there to show something of real strength. So other than that, we're just waiting for buyers to get tired. They can't take it up there. It rolls back over, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Likely, down to this pivot, possibly lower. So the idea here is that, look, if it stays below here, and ideally in the lower third, which is historically the most bearish thing, stays in the lower third, it's creating an area of overhead resistance to start another move to the downside. Well, that is the, I guess, bias just based on this initial down move in this wide range bar. We've often said over, time that these wide range bars are the weakest link in the chart because there's such a momentum move, which you can see. Let me get rid of this. You can see on the hourly chart just the waterfall decline down into here. And so there's nothing to really stop it from going up. And there's a little bit of overlapping bars over here where I've got eyeballed this area, this minor resistance, which is subjective. In any event, it's kind of forming up here like what would be called a bear flag, where it makes higher high, higher low, moving up toward an area possibly around 4,100, where buyers will feel more confident to be more aggressive. Those that got caught on the long side, after a few days of trying to move higher, they begin to lose some confidence. So the psychological part of the chart begins to evolve, and we see the patterns that form and what that looks like, and grinding its way up into an area of resistance where at some point I would expect to see some type of a failure, range expansion bar failure, something to confirm that sellers are taking control up in that area. Right? So we may just have another choppy day ahead of us, which is fine for the credit spreads, but for directionals, yesterday was a bit treacherous as things whipped around. Spiders, see where they are here. You can see they were higher. Now they're moving lower to this 403-ish area. You can see the cursor on the charts. Basically an inside day to start the day so far. And so, look, as I'm looking at this, look, this is a classic opportunity for buyers to create a retest and reversal pattern. So that is one possibility here to focus on here as it comes down. Say it comes down here today and has a range expansion reversal bar. We have to think long from an intraday trading point of view. And then, look, even if it gets to the halfway mark, which could seem pretty powerful from an intraday trade, as far as this could retrace, it's really not going to change much on the daily chart that we have right now. So, okay, inside day, we go to SPX. And so what I've gotten written down so far already, Jacob, is your number. 39.70, 39.65. So if it dips further, 39.65 was less premium, as you can see. What's going on here? There we go. 60 by 70, not bad. So it's come up a little bit as it's moved down. It was a little lower than that. And 70 is 80 by 90. So where is that on the chart? All right, 39.65 is down here. And so have some room to travel. And this level is going to be a support area, coming into a support area there. And it's got to break through 4,000. So, but on the upside, you can go 41.05 to 41.10. So I think it's unlikely it's going to get above 4100s. And that's all we're doing with credit spreads. And so I don't know what the premium is now. It's probably less than what I was looking at before. Yeah, so it's quite a bit less as it's pushing down. So you have to get closer to 4100. So I'd rather be on the other side of it if it retraces back up. So the downside, and if this just keeps going down, that'll juice up a little bit more. And so any move down here toward this 4,016, maybe it breaks below it at the open, and that would probably be the opportune time to go for a lower strike. And as this came down, the greater than 100% retracement, and then looking for it to stabilize, especially if you were to get a NYSE tick extreme at the same time. All right, Qs. Where are they at? Inside bar, same story. Nothing to add to that. Futures, you could see it where it's trading right now. A little bit of a rejection after taking out the high. So a little bit of bearish price action. It's still trying to regroup after the drop. Same story with the Dow. I mean, nothing's changed here. 50% area, and got to turn that to red now. Some congestion up there, subjective part, but you can see the same kind of bear flag as it's grinding up. It's coming down. It's kind of like, could be another boring day, but it is what it is until things shake out from what it was. There was a big monster bar to the downside. It's reached a little bit of support. Institutions are kind of like, oh my God, what happened here? The Fed guy, blindsided us. And so it lifts up a little bit. Maybe they can exit some positions. But after, I would say by tomorrow, look, it's got enough time that have passed by to lift this thing to some level, to wherever it's going to go. And by then, it's like longs, like, the time they've been provided to lift this thing. And sometimes these kind of bars get rejected. If you go back, a year or two ago, while the markets were trending up, we saw bars like this, and it was almost an irregular thing that big nasty red bars got negated. So we'll see back here, that wasn't happening. So now that this is rolled over, staying down below that 50% mark for 2-3 days or so, I think sellers are going to reemerge. And Bitcoin hanging here at the edge of the cliff. It's on support. So as this stabilized yesterday, the market's like that. But now, again, you're at support. Buyers see it. They look to the left, step up there. And if they can't retrace it, moving back up after 2-3 or so days, sellers lose confidence. And so again, we're in a waiting period here. So don't get too excited one way or another until we really see some support or resistance being violated. Silver's coming down to support here. There's going to be buyers. You see the weekly chart. We've talked about this a lot. The dollar just continues to be strong. You saw that gap down reversal. Interest rates, they're going to go higher. The Fed is going to raise. Look at today. They're still going up. The market is telling Mr. Powell, we're telling you, you don't have a choice. Take care of this thing. And look, nobody wants the pain, certainly not the administration and people going into the midterm elections, but maybe they'll do the right thing. He said the right words. The markets keep putting the pressure on. They keep going up. So the 10 years still above 3% is just hanging there. If this, set an alert. If this breaks out above here, buyers are going to blink, because that's just going to be another piece of information that they don't want to see. It just was hanging here. Set an alert above this level. That starts pushing up. You don't have to be watching it, but if that starts pushing up, you see the S&Ps start to roll. You start looking for, things lining up. Volatility index starts rising. You can see yesterday, throughout the day, it was falling, which was kind of a message that, hey, as bearish as Friday looked, and it came down a lot. It was like, you're not going to get a lot of downside while, you've got this AD line that was rising, even though from a very negative level. And, you've got volatility contracting. It's just not going to fall apart, So we look for these things to, come together. And, so yesterday was just one of those days running in place. So market internals can be helpful to a guide with the price patterns. Looking at the VIX, it did nothing yesterday, hit this little bit of resistance. The messages were, for the most part, sit on your hands yesterday, maybe some scalps. Transports did absolutely nothing. There's a little bit of support there. So, and it looks like it's going to take maybe another today, maybe tomorrow. And I don't know what economic news, I have to go look at the calendar, is coming out later this week. But look for what might move the markets right now. You've got institutions just holding their breath, going to see, can this thing lift off one more time? And if not, as time passes, they're going, thank you, McGraw, jobless claims are coming. They're just going to, at some point, just like you would if you were in a bad trade, if you got caught long, at some point, 2, 3, 4 bars later, and it's not doing what you expected it to do, cut half, and maybe that starts it. They start to reduce half positions, and then from there, things maybe start flowing. This yield curves are getting worse, so I don't see anything good here. So stay out of trouble, as much as you can, and credit spreads just work just fine when prices aren't moving, and I don't see that reason for prices to start moving today. So, all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, all our opens are fine. We're heavily bullish. I'm sorry. Yeah, heavily bearish with the exception of a couple oil things. Oil's coming in a little bit here today, but we have our stops in place. Earnings season obviously coming to a close. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have any problem children here today, so that's good. BBBY, I said move stop 30-minute low. We entered that put spread yesterday, gapping up. Cat, I said let's try to get out, break even. It was up a little more earlier. Spiders, when I first looked at them, it looked like they could be setting up for a 5 or 10 or 15-minute high for a nice day trade long into the gap. But now the way they're retracing, I'm back to neutral here. It's going to depend in the first 10 to 30 minutes which way we trade. Z Zulu, there was an article in the journal saying to short this, and there's a lot of patterns where I had potential bottoming patterns on the weekly and they're failing. So we had to add this to the list. I mean, this looks horrible. That's a sell setup with a big range expansion bar. TDOC is one we entered yesterday. Look at that weekly on TDOC. Twilio, look at Twilio. Looks horrible. Now, this thing used to be $450. And now it's 71 and looking lower. So, Greg says don't use the word oversold because it just puts misleading concepts in your head. Frey, this is the battery company. Remember the other day? Today's Tuesday, last Friday. Well, no, this is Tuesday. Wait, so last Thursday. A lot of the battery companies were gapping up here, and now Frey's gapping up again. It has pretty good juice. Let's keep an eye on that for put spread. The whole sector plug. So let's somebody remind me. Let's scan the battery stocks. A lot of the EV stocks were trading horribly. Look at this deep retracement on Riven. Neo, looks horrible. Failed buy setup. A Dash I just saw going by the ticker. Here's another one. There's another one. Look at a weekly. It looked like a bottoming pattern. It was a 1, 2, 3, which never triggered. Looks horrible. It's hanging around all-time lows. I remember when this thing came out. Look, this, I don't know what the IPO price was. Look at that, came out around $200, whatever. I remember just saying for a delivery, pizza delivery company. And it looks like the fundamentals have caught up with it. Phase, that's a little bio we take a look at every now and then. It looks like it's perking up here today again. LBS, I was just looking at a couple hotels. And the only thing that grabbed my attention on this, the weekly got rejected ugly Friday with the broader market. But look at the weekly. It's holding the upper part of this bar. And if it breaks out, it has a void. So this is an inverse head and shoulder on the weekly. Left shoulder, you got two heads here, or a big head. Right shoulder, price void, target maybe 44. But it's going to take a couple days to set up because it has to get through, has to negate that ugly red bar, or at least substantially. EDU, here's another one. No entry on the daily, but look at a weekly. It's another bottoming pattern. I think this is a Chinese education stock, so there's always a lot of high risks in that. MGAM, this looks, wow, crazy acting IPO. The gapping up here, we'll keep an eye on it. Here's a couple earning stocks. BMO, I don't see a gap. Big, no pattern. You got this 180 reversal there. Con, gapping down, big gap, gapping under the 50. Kirk gapping down. That's a nasty retracement from the recent high. Plab 19, that's a big gap. Now this one might be one where we say let's see if buyers step up here. Pre-market it went down to the 200, so let's watch this one. There's phase going right there. Put Plab there. Pins. We're short a third lot of the 20s. I'm keeping an eye on this to short some more. Rex light volume. I don't like the way it trades, but and it had earnings. I can't tell where you're gapping. BBY earnings. Had a gap coming in, no pattern. Baidu gapping up a little, no pattern. NEM and GDX look like shorts. You know, look like shorts. There's some horizontal support here, but they look horrible. This rock is a little oil stock. Oils are down here, so I'm very careful on new oils. But if this triggers, and it's a continuation breakout. I think I have an alarm already. Let me check. 4240. No, I don't. So 4240 on the rock. And OB looks a little similar. Set an alarm at 1025 if it gets back up there. This NSSC, I had it on the watch from yesterday. This was earnings yesterday. Had a nice gap and close. That looks good. Yeah, Rock, I know it's your company. I know. Looks good. Musa, this is what we call a bullish range expansion bar. At the 20, sideways consolidation. Nothing to do with it right yet, but you know, many times when I look at a pattern and then you hear me say, here's where it got my attention to start watching it. That's what I'm doing right here. You have my attention now on this bar. SPRT, McGraw gave me a couple of these. I said we we're going to watch a pullback. Fling, you know, gapping down, but let's see if it can just chop around sideways with the market. Same with that. Same with CYK, but it's oil. So yeah, oil, I think we're not going to be buying any oil stocks today. All right, here's another one. The similar to Musa, bullish consolidation in the upper part of this, bullish engulfing bar. That looks really good. I'm going to put that in a window. Let's see, corn and wheat down. They're both gapping down. Our wheat did not trigger. Maybe we get a better entry on this pullback. It's on my watch list. I'm not giving anything official right now, but it's definitely a watch. AMC, I was looking at yesterday, my alarm went off, just slowing momentum, selling an out of money $8 put, gapping up, so it still looks good for that. ILA, I have an alarm up here at 178. Bottoming pattern there on the weekly. Commodities, DBA had a nice close, gapping down. There's that one I just mentioned. And these are some leftover from yesterday. So TDOC, we're already in. Morgan Stanley was shorted yesterday. Twilio shorted. Shoe looks lower. Pins I talked about. DWAC. All right, so I'm kind of done here too. Oh, I'm talking about DWAC. I heard on the news that Google has not yet approved them to be on. Wait, but I thought, yeah, but on apps. All right, I'm confused. An app store is Apple. But I could have sworn they were talking about Google not approving them for something or other. Oh well. Twitter's also in the news today again. I'm not touching this stock in the center of all the news. Not me. MSOS. Yeah, we're short puts in MSOS, and we're long MJ, even though MSOS looks better. We're in BRCC, both long stock. Yeah, nice gap. Yeah. Yeah, we can tighten the stop now on this to yesterday's low. Thanks. 1044. My alarm didn't go up. BRCC 1044. Looks good. Yeah, that's one we got into last week, and it closed with beautiful relative strength. And then we put on a put spread yesterday. Just adjusting this. Give me 1 second. This Telegram for our subscribers. They could be out golfing right now, and we send them new trades. Let's see here. Dave on YouTube's asking about MSOS. Yeah, yes, it's a bottoming pattern. It's cannabis. Yeah, it's a total bottoming pattern. Still a nasty downtrend, but there's signs. I mean, this was an igniting move, and this has higher. We got above the 20 and 50. So yes, 100% it's a bottoming pattern. Yes, and we're in MJ. And you heard me say this one looks better than MJ, but that's water under the bridge. But we are short the 1250 puts on this in the advisory letter. And SSC up alarm there. That's when I said nice earnings gap yesterday. So this is a beautiful setup. And I like to have stocks. I like go-to stocks. If I say, okay, I'm now bullish, I'm now bearish, or day trade or swing trade. So this is a go-to on the bullish side. It looks fantastic. This FSR. FSR is still a pending trade. It was to sell a put spread over last week's high. It triggered pre-market, but now it's coming in, which is good. Because then if it triggers again, it'll be even better. Let's see, looking around at the fangs. Amazon has a buy setup on the 15. Hey, that's a nice looking day trade setup. Or scalp, or whatever. We're still fighting a bearish daily. But that, I love gap up and buy setups on minor support pre-market. So that looks great for a possible day trade, 5-minute high, maybe target 133-ish. I'm just in scalping mode. And all I did was look at my 15-minute fangs. Netflix here, maybe 5-minute high. But that's not a buy setup. That would just be a, you know, a breakout on the 15-minute chart. And so now Amazon's quickly getting reversed. So yeah, we're sidelined here doing nothing. Pins. I'm watching this, as I said, to short some more $20 puts. Maybe we'll do them right now. We shorted the pins SCCO low alarm, shoot. And also Alcoa. All right, Alcoa. All right, so that's fine. We shorted the 49 puts. MRO. All right, MRO. We're gonna just take the stop. We'll stop out of that one. That's a bearish gap, breakout failure. I told you we're in trail mode on these oils. All right, EOG stopped out. Just take our money. We have a nice open profit. I'll get to posting these later, but just we're done with oil for a while. SCCO. All right, this one we have we were long stock and short puts. MD